Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a fascinating and honestly incredibly high stakes intersection today: biotechnology, ethics, and global agriculture. I mean, we are quite literally tinkering with the very building blocks of life here. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever stopped to think about who actually owns the genetic code of your food? It sounds like something straight out of a science fiction novel, right? But it's a very real, very pressing moral dilemma we're facing right now. Section 1. The Biotech Innovation Dilemma. Look, when we intervene in living organisms, we're basically rewriting the rules of nature. It's a massive deal. On one hand, biotechnology delivers absolute miracles. We're talking about crops that can resist devastating pests or thrive in extreme droughts. But on the other hand, dropping these heavily modified organisms into complex, ancient ecosystems, well, that can trigger some highly unpredictable ripple effects. It's a constant tightrope walk between scientific advancement and ecological impact. Because the stakes are just so high, strict ethical frameworks aren't just some nice-to-have luxury. They're literally our survival guide. As our source material points out, these standards are, quote, vital in assessing how human interventions affect life on Earth, both positively and negatively. We absolutely need a rigorous roadmap to navigate this. Section 2. India's Regulatory Shield. So you might be wondering, how does a country actually manage this practically? Well, in India, the government set up a primary referee, the Genetic Engineering Approval Committee, or GEAC for short. Basically, before any genetically modified organism hits the soil or enters the food supply, it has to get past them. And let me tell you, their job is an incredibly delicate balancing act. They have to critically evaluate the validity of biotech research, verify the absolute safety of these organisms, and fiercely protect ecological integrity. Oh, and they have to do all of that while trying not to stifle crucial scientific innovation. Section 3. The Threat of Biopiracy. But biological safety is really only half the battle. We also have to navigate the murky waters of intellectual property. Enter biopiracy. This is the unauthorized exploitation of biological resources and traditional knowledge. It's an absolute ethical minefield where we are increasingly seeing massive biotech firms patenting the very plants that indigenous communities have cultivated and protected for centuries. Section 4. The Basmati Rice Battle. Now, what's really interesting about this is how quickly an abstract idea like biopiracy becomes incredibly real. Just look at India's treasure trove of rice varieties. Aromatic basmati isn't just a crop to be traded on the commodities market. It holds deep, deep cultural significance and has been carefully nurtured by local farmers over countless generations. Let's see how this builds over time. For centuries, Indian farmers exclusively cultivated this grain. Then came the absolute shock of 1997. A U.S. company actually secured patent rights for a quote-unquote new variety of basmati by simply crossbreeding traditional Indian types with semi-dwarf strains. The result? A sudden direct threat to the rights of the very local farmers who created the genetic foundation in the first place. Section 5. Protecting traditional knowledge. So, how do nations actually fight back against this kind of exploitation? By rewiring the system. In response to the basmati shock, India amended its patents bill. The goal was simple but powerful: seek to establish a truly equitable sharing of biotech benefits and safeguard the biological resources themselves from corporate overreach. Restoring this balance really requires a three-pronged approach for equity. It means fiercely protecting biological resources, officially defending traditional knowledge, and establishing those robust regulatory frameworks we talked about earlier. Honestly, that's the only way justice and biological innovation can thrive together. So, the crucial point here is that ethics in biotech demand action. Shielding biodiversity from corporate exploitation isn't just some legal hoop to jump through. Protecting biodiversity is a legal obligation, absolutely, but it's also a vital moral duty to preserve our planet's incredibly rich fabric of life. Which leaves us with this profound question: do we have a moral obligation to protect the original creators of Earth's biodiversity from corporate exploitation? I will leave you to think deeply about that one. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.